This is the Twins POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Twins fall in a lethargic performance in Kansas City. Welcome to the Twins POSTCAST. My name is Sam Ekstrom, filling in for the tireless Luke Inman. I'm joined by Theo Tollefson tonight as we recap the Twins' 4-2 loss in Kansas City. The 10-game record now sits at 3-7. Got away from the Twins early, and they could not recover. Shaky performance from Simeon Woods-Richardson, and Rocco tossed in the sixth inning. Controversial moments. We'll get into all of that on the postcast tonight. Theo, man, this was a lazy performance from the Twins, and I think the vibes were bad before the first pitch. After what happened yesterday, they lose a 6-run lead. They lose an extra innings to Houston, 9-7, going to Kansas City. Cold night. You don't have like your stopper on the mound. You've got Simeon Woods-Richardson back in the rotation. They fall behind early and scarcely mounted even a whisper of a comeback effort. Even after a little ninth inning rally, a hit by pitch, a walk, a single, that's all they could muster in a comeback effort tonight.
Yeah, it's, you enter this series with the bad taste in your mouth with how yesterday's game ended, but not only that, but they lost 4 consecutive games against the Royals to end their season against them last year. So Royals already kind of have an edge up, especially if you remember that series at the beginning of September last year during the middle of the collapse where they just got swept out. It was just, bad circumstances to walk into, and they did not take advantage of that at all. I mean, Ty France, Willie Castro got a couple doubles there in the second inning. It looked like the offense was going to pick up a little bit more, but they fell back into the same traps they fell into yesterday where, they were 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position through the first 4 innings of yesterday's game, and then they were 0 for 12 for the remainder of the game, and they were 3 for 9 tonight. But you take into account that, 2 of those came at little too late, especially the last one here is how we saw that game end there. But, I mean, I wrote something for Zone Coverage today that this team seems to be facing Murphy's Law, where anything that can go wrong is going wrong for them. And I think, we saw even some of the smaller things play out that way, like in the 6th inning with Simeon Woods-Richardson's last batter, which we'll get to. But it's not abysmal to the point of 2016 bad, but this is just a really bad place for the Twins to start the first 10 games. And every good team has a bad 10-game stretch during a 162-game season, but man, to get it right out of the gate, it does make things look bleak.
Like 3 out of 4 years, it feels like Twins have just needed some time to get the engine warm. It's like they tried to turn their car on in the Minnesota winter, and it's just idling right now. Let's get into our biggest story of the night. I'd like to start the show like this.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Here's the direction I'll go, Theo. I thought that the Twins just looked shaky out of the gate, and that applies to Simeon Woods-Richardson on the mound, leadoff doubles in the first and second inning. They weren't cheap doubles either. They were loud ones that almost left the yard. But the defense also, outfield defense, uncharacteristic in the first inning where Byron Buxton drops a ball that he has caught 97 times out of 100. I mean, I know he's on the move, but it's Byron Buxton we're talking about. He drops a ball that turns into a 2-bagger. And then Harry Bader, probably can't get to that ball, and he has good range. He couldn't get to the ball, a little bloop down the left field line, but he lets it get by him, and he lets that run come in for the first run of the game. And then they didn't make a lot of this on the broadcast. I know that Witt is extremely fast on the line, but Castro didn't even make the throw on the double play attempt to try to end the second inning. That allowed a run to come in. So the defense early, the pitching early did not set a good tone for the Twins.
Yeah, I think it falls a little bit more on the defense than it did on Woods-Richardson, just because the Royals took advantage of that small ball game where they saw the weaknesses in the Twins' defense, and they took full advantage of it, and that's how those 2 runs really came around in the bottom of the second inning for them, and just, kind of put this out with reach, which feels like it should not have been, and there were a lot of bad at-bats following that second inning until we got to the top of the 9th, where it looked like they could have mounted a comeback, but things just fell short once again. But I mean, Woods-Richardson did have a few good innings after that, but yeah, he was still a little shaky with his command, and things were not going exactly where he wanted them to go. So they needed him to get deep into this game, and he threw a career high 107 pitches tonight just so they could alleviate the bullpen and only use him and Scott Blewett, who just got brought up from St. Paul today. And Blewett had a couple outings with the Saints. I know his first one was on opening day a week ago Friday. He did really well. His last one out in Columbus, not so great. So it was good to see him to get out there and, pitch well. So that's like one of the upsides we can talk about tonight is Scott Blewett. So good to see him back in the swing of things, but it's just at the worst of times, it seems like.
Yeah, what grade would you give Simeon Woods-Richardson tonight? The final line on him, 5.2 innings pitched, 4 runs, 8 hits, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts, 107 pitches, like you said. That's a lot. That's a lot of April 7th pitches for a Rocco Baldelli managed pitcher to throw. That feels like about 25 more than we normally would see. And also one clock violation on Simeon Woods-Richardson. What would you give his grade for this game?
I think a C-. I might bump it up to a C because his last pitch was not even a pitch thrown. That clock violation, I think it made a very clear indication that, his pitch comm wasn't working. He was stepping off the mound, disengaging, calling the timeout, and they were trying to fix it. The umpire was not paying enough attention, and that led to Rocco getting ejected, and, just a unceremonious end to, his night, and, getting a free walk. So it was only 3 walks he really gave up. That 4th one doesn't really count in my mind, but it is what it is at this point. So, I mean, you ask a lot of him, especially after how Paddock threw yesterday, and it looked a lot better than his first start of the season against the White Sox. But, I mean, Paddock's getting a much shorter leash because it seems like, once he gets to the very top of the order, 3rd time through, they're just lighting up against him. And that was the case against Houston yesterday. So it was very much the case for Woods-Richardson. He did a lot better this time around, facing the lineup a 3rd time around. In India, that was his 4th time facing him. It looked like he could have probably gotten him out of there and get to 108 pitches and maybe save the Twins a little more trouble, but it is what it is at this point, and that was just really bad to call by the umpire there, and it cost him getting a full 6 innings and kind of alleviate the pain. But again, he did give up a home run earlier in that inning, showing how fatigued he was because that was a career high in pitch total. So there's all that to take into consideration.
Yeah. I mean, you're 1 pitch away from a quality start. 1 pitch away from probably feeling decent about this, probably a better grade than a C-, to be honest with you. Might have gone with a B if he gets through 6, gives up 3 runs. Instead, it's 5.2, 4 runs, home run, pitch clock violation, manager ejected. It all unraveled in the bottom of the 6th inning, kind of where things got away. Let's pause. Let's break. We'll come back, talk more about the Rocco Baldelli ejection. And was the pitch clock violation justified? I don't think so. That's next. We are brought to you tonight by Just Ingredients. When it comes to fueling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients has also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I swear by creatine. Always got it in my water bottle at the gym, making sure that my body's getting the right chemicals that it needs. It fuels performance. JustIngredients.us. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. For more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. We're also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing better than watching the game live at Target Field, and you can get tickets to Target Field or Target Center. Catch the final couple home games for the Minnesota Timberwolves. There are last-minute deals. Get the all-in prices. When you toggle that feature on, you get the lowest price guarantee. You get the views from your seat. It's fantastic. Have a spontaneous game night. Get out to one of the venues in town. Wild only have a few home games left. Make sure you check it out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Rocco Baldelli tossed in the bottom of the 6th inning. We'll recap the situation. So 3-2 pitch, and he wants Simeon Woods-Richardson out of there. And this is his last batter of the game. He wants him to get through 6. Doesn't want to have to go to the bullpen in the 6th inning with 1 man on and 2 out. Doesn't want to go to Scott Blewett. Simeon Woods-Richardson steps off the mound, pitch comm, not working, taps the head, doesn't get acknowledged by the umpire. Now, the umpire has some leeway, Theo, based on the rules. The umpire does not need to grant that if he feels like you're manipulating the pitch clock. Maybe he felt like Simeon Woods-Richardson was, because he was fatigued, he wasn't going to let him off the hook. Well, okay, gets back on the mound and starts his windup, and really not even close to the end of the pitch clock, 2 seconds on the clock, and delivers the ball. Gets called for the pitch clock violation. Rocco loses his mind, threw some stuff, stomped around. It was actually a pretty great Rocco meltdown. Is there any reason why that violation should have been called?
No, I think it was truly a pitch comm, issue just based on Woods-Richardson reaction and body language, and he was just trying to get that through. Especially, he had a full count. I don't think he was trying to really, manipulate the time and try to take advantage of that. I just think he was trying to get through, get that last out, and hopefully walk away with a better feeling. He went through 6 full instead of 5 2/3, but that's what happened there. And that just goes back to the point of what I wrote with zone coverage that came out today. This Murphy's Law, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And that just seemed like that one small moment of that coming into effect for the Twins once again. And that's been the case in all their losses so far this season. And that might have been a momentum shift for them, but I think that was also us seeing Rocco just vent out his frustrations with how this season has started. And that was, the perfect time to air it out and let those frustrations out, even though obviously there's some stuff going on within the clubhouse. It's just all this mounting up and building to just a small little moment that really should have been allowed time, because these things happen. And yes, there are times where pitchers are definitely, messing around with their pitch comms to save themselves some time and, restart that clock. But this just seemed like one of those cases where that was not the case. And the umpire could have just granted him some time, but he didn't.
Yeah, I mean, have a little common sense for the umpire too, just in the moment of the game, the situation, and like literally the clock. Like I don't know if he didn't reestablish himself in time to give the batter a chance to reestablish himself. They opined about that on the broadcast as to why they called it with 2 seconds left on the clock. We may never know unless there is a pool report with the crew chief. Let's get into tonight's turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Theo, take the first crack at this one.
Oh, it was definitely lost within the 2nd inning, honestly. I mean, like with the Royals coming up, they're taking advantage of the bad defense from the Twins, playing good small ball, and I think that's where it went. And of course, the Twins bats try to really, they did something in the top of the 9th. I'm sorry. Estevez did not have good command in the strike zone, and they really did, work to mount a comeback. And Harrison Bader at least got an RBI single to alleviate some of this pain. But Julian just got a really bad pitch. Well, he got a good pitch and he got bad contact on it, is what I mean to say. And that just ended the game there. Coming off cold off the bench is never a good thing, but I would still use him or Deshaun Kersey Jr., left-handed batter, to face off against Estevez in that case, instead of keeping Christian Vasquez in the game, just considering I think he's 1 for 16 on the season. So that batting average is looking below even 100, which is not great. And you'd rather have that lefty-righty matchup in pivotal moments where you can at least try to tie this game. And one swing can change everything. So, I mean, I think it was a better at-bat than Julian would have had a year ago at this time. But, I mean, just bad contact, and that was it.
Yeah, the Eddie Julian devolving into this type of player, pretty disappointing after the impact that he had on that playoff team in 2023. I'll go a different direction. This is not the turning point. This was more of the dagger. Top of the 8th, you got 6 outs left. You got a man on first, nobody out. Ursi gets in a 12-pitch battle with Carlos Correa. Super professional at bat. Getting out in front of it a little bit, but getting good contact down the left field line. It felt like Correa had it measured pretty well. ends up striking out on, good high heater, close pitch, 12 pitch at bat. So it turns into a possible walk, possible hit, possible 2-man on, nobody out, to, all right, Correa goes down. And then moments later, a wild pitch hits the plate, bounces up off of Buxton's helmet, back into the hand of Perez, who throws out Wallner, and Massey makes an unbelievable pick at second base to get him out. I couldn't believe my eyes. It's not your night when that happens, Theo.
Definitely not. No, I think I got hung up on how things were early in the game. I forgot how that was because, yeah, I mean, Wallner had a good walk there. I think if Correa didn't swing at that last pitch of his at bat in the top of the 8th, he could have probably drawn a walk there, setting up things better for Buxton and getting another runner in scoring position. But yeah, again, those small things that can't go wrong just continue to go wrong, and that's been frustrating. Are they cooked? I don't know. It's still so early, but it's not great, man. I can tell you that much. It's not a great place to be starting the season, and you just got to be thankful the White Sox are still in this division and will find a way to make things look worse for themselves than the Twins are right now.
Yeah, like if this is a football season, you just finished up week 1 and you lost like 24-10. That's what's just happened. So everybody's going to hit the panic button.
Maybe more closer to like 42-10. With how this has been going.
And again, Theo, if you just win the Sunday game, if you win that game on Sunday and you win it 7-5, where they had them in the 9th, this doesn't feel as bad. And heck, you might even win the game tonight because you're feeling a little better about yourself. The momentum arrow is pointing down right now. Odds and ends. I thought Harry Bader had a nice end of the game, back-to-back diving catches in the 7th, RBI in the 9th. Any other odds and ends or miscellaneous from you, Theo?
No, I think, I brought it up already with Blewett, holding things together after Woods-Richardson got out of the game, giving the bullpen another rest because they still got 3 more here in Kansas City. They still got 9 straight games and 9 days here, and they won't have an off day, I think, until a week from Thursday before they go down to Atlanta. So it's going to be a long stretch here, and they got to at least win 5 of these next 9 games and hopefully split bare minimum against Kansas City for the rest of the series. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, and hopefully things start to look better.
Pablo Day tomorrow, trying to be the turnaround for the Minnesota Twins. They're 3-7 through 10. They lose to Kansas City 4-2 tonight. That's Theo Tollefson. Find this stuff at zonecoverage.com. I'm Sam Ekstrom filling in for Luke Inman. Catch Brandon Warren giving you the great daily Twins content that you crave. That is here on YouTube, Locked On Twins, or the audio, Locked On Twins as well. Find our audio on the Locked On Twins podcast feed, as well as Locked On Sports Minnesota. Lots of ways to watch and listen. Again, he's Theo. I'm Sam. Thanks for watching the Twins postcast. They fall in Kansas City by a 4-2 score.